Welcome. My name's Christine Smith and I'm the Employability Advisor for the University of Bedfordshire, working for the Careers and Employability Service. As such, I'm the Specialist Employability Advisor for the Faculty of Education and Sport, and I'm really pleased that you've been able to join us today. I'm very pleased that we've got Rosie, who's agreed to be interviewed as part of this. Rosie is an alumnus of the university. She recently graduated, and I think there's lots that she's very happy to tell us about her story that will be really useful. So I think the first thing to say is we're wanting to bring 3 points out here. Looking at the topic, we're thinking about, how do I find out where I want to go? And then what are my options after uni? And then how do I get there? So I guess, Rosie, my first question for you is, do you want to just tell us who you are? A bit about yourself.
So thanks for having me. I'm Rosie Piddington. I'm a mature student who graduated this year. And yeah, I've got 2 young boys at home who have got special educational needs, and then a further son as well. So being a mature student with 3 children and embarking on a full-time 3-year degree was certainly a challenge.
I'm sure it was, yeah. So before you came, did you know what you wanted to do after university?
I'd like to say coming in as a mature student, I had it all planned. No, I really didn't. I had some ideas in mind. My background had always been working with children and young people. And so part of my heart was I wanted to further this, maybe go into teaching. And then another part of me, because I had previously fostered, I was considering social work. So I kind of went with an open degree. I call it an open degree, education studies, because it enabled me to look at a variety of different options within that course. So yeah, I wasn't really sure. Definitely in my first year at uni, I had 2 psychology units and totally fell in love with psychology and kind of thought, I want to explore this more. I want to learn more about how I learn, others learn, and I just thought, what, this is a route I'd like to take further. So yeah, I put my heart and soul into obviously getting where I am, and now I am embarked on a postgraduate applied psychology master's.
Which is fabulous, yeah. And I think that's a really common story, isn't it? That people come with something in mind, and then as we study different things and learn more about ourselves and the topic and everything else, we pick up on stuff on the way, don't we? Yeah, so we find out more.
Yeah, that was definitely the case with me, falling in love with psychology and understanding the units and the modules. It kind of, it really broadened my horizons. It gave me an opportunity to look at how I learn, which obviously being a student, having to take in a lot of information, was actually quite a good starting point for me to get a love for learning.
Sorry, as a mature student as well, because I know I studied later in life, I was like, will I be able to do this? Will it be okay? Yeah.
I won't lie to you, Christine. I certainly had a few of those moments along the way. Yeah, even up until the point of my dissertation. Am I still doing the right thing? Am I even writing correctly? You constantly question yourself. But yeah.
And that's common, I guess, whoever we are, at any point in our degree. So you weren't sure what you wanted to do when you arrived. You had a vague idea.
Yeah.
That became a bit clearer. So what then did you set about doing? How then did you begin to find out what you might do after uni?
Well, I suppose because after my first year, I kind of had a bit more of an idea where I wanted to go. I did take on a lot of information from the university. So we had various lectures and scenarios, sessions that we could engage in. So attending those and finding about what was available and what was on offer first of all, it led me into volunteering. I started volunteering for a charity, Greenhouse Mentoring. And, I picked up some transferable skills, really enjoyed working with children and young people who kind of had specific needs. And then it kind of got me looking about what else I could do. And throughout my time, obviously, I did try and get involved in everything. I've been a student ambassador, I've been a student rep. I was really open to taking on all these opportunities that are available. I can't even imagine how much, they've made me grow as a person, how I've had all these opportunities to reflect on my own behaviour and experiences, and how I can use that to progress moving forwards. And all the things I've learned along the way, building in confidence, being able to speak in front of people. I'm sure there might be students that remember me struggling with words at various points on presentations and things like this. So being able to obviously feel motivated and encouraged and receiving feedback and support from everyone along the way definitely helped me get to where I am now. And yeah, using a reflection tool kind of along those routes has been really, really helpful. And I know it's something I'll continue to do in my future career as well.
Yeah, we learn so much about ourselves, don't we? And just learning how to reflect and how to kind of, even just writing it down. And I know that's something that we're going to ask people to do at the end of this session, to write down one action you want to do at the end of this, because we can be in a session, listen to lots of ideas, and then go away, and by the time we've made a cup of tea and gone to the loo, and we've forgotten about it, haven't we? So it's capturing those things.
Yeah, and it's really, really a moment that you have to kind of capture those moments to learn how to learn again. You're learning something so new about you that actually you can really thrive on it. So yeah, definitely becoming more honest about how I learn as a student and as a person, how I take things personally, and how I can be resilient and not very resilient at times, has, they've all fed into where I am today and moving forward. So yeah, definitely take time to make some notes of things you want to try.
Yeah, and it's funny because we don't think there's unnecessarily impact on our career, but who we are and how we respond in different situations, and you talked about the transferable skills, are massive, aren't they?
Oh, totally. Being able to obviously go through a variety of workplaces and having those transferable skills that are, really required for today, particularly in our current situation. It's really important that you are, you've got good social skills, you're good with other people, you can communicate your wants and needs. And you know what, the biggest thing for me has been probably being able to ask for help and support along the way. We are still learning, and even now I still feel the same now.
Yeah, very much so. And people, you mentioned the current situation of COVID-19, and people might be thinking, well, there's no opportunities around at the moment. But I know that Greenhouse Mentoring, Citizens Advice, lots of organisations are looking for volunteers, are offering really good training. Most of it's online, the work. You mentioned being a student rep. You can absolutely step up and do that. Those kinds of opportunities are available. There's still masses of stuff that you can do to gain experience now, isn't there?
There is, and I mean, obviously, I've just graduated, so I'm still hearing about all the opportunities that are still available, and I have actually been pleasantly surprised about how many things there are still available that you can get involved in. I've seen a lot of work that's online as well, so I think it's really important to try and not be put off by these circumstances, because I know I, for one, have I've made changes already going into my postgraduate studies, so. Yeah, if I can do it, anyone can.
It's also, like you say, though, you were ready when you saw something to just kind of, give it a go.
Yeah, it is. It's a case of really giving it a go, and taking a moment to actually enjoy this time. I mean, it's challenging. It's really, really hard. We're at home more. We've got our own challenges. I've even got children here. Thankfully, they're not interrupting. But yeah, you just have to take time and enjoy learning and using the skills that you can, because there are jobs out there that will allow for you to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, everything you're talking about is really important, isn't it? To kind of have a go at stuff, learn more about ourselves, learn more about our skills or abilities, get feedback from people that we're
Definitely
good
get
or
feedback.
not quite so good at something, and just begin to develop more. I think also you talked about getting help from the university, and at the end of this presentation you'll be able to go on a PowerPoint and see lots of information of things that are available for those that are watching this at home. So you got to where you are, you know, you kind of figured out what you wanted to do, went off and got lots of experience. You know, part of this talk is about what are my options. So what options did you identify?
Yeah, so options, that's literally it. It's a minefield. There is so many options. For me, it was kind of a case of narrowing down what I was really interested in, knowing where I wanted to go. So for me, obviously, I'm looking at going down an educational psychology route. So it was looking at, you know, what did I need to get to this next step? So for me, the postgraduate study was a necessity, because I need my British Psychological Society membership. So that's a must. And then it's looking at things like your future career. How do I get to then apply to a doctorate, or how do I get the experience that I need to get on to the doctorate, which is one of those things, you know, it's a really hard market to get into, and I need to be able to stand out. So having opportunities to help me get there, you know, using the Employability and Career Service, what type of things could I do? And I do feel like I've used that to be able to, you know, master in my own mind which routes I want to take. But, you know, COVID's happened. My routes aren't as easy as I had in my head, and it's been harder to find work. So I've taken a slightly different route. And it's still going to get me to where I want to go, that end goal. But I'm not saying no to other opportunities, because it's using those transferable skills, using your experience, using your reflections and your learning from all these experiences that will help me, hopefully, to get where I am to go in the future.
Yeah. And there was a piece of research done a few years ago looking at students who graduated in a recession, and they still got to where they were going to go. It just took a little bit longer.
And I think it's really important to be mindful to those opportunities on the way. Just because it's a slightly different route, it doesn't mean that you're not going there. And actually, you could fall in love with a whole different world of work, and learn so much from that you want to take that further anyway. So definitely mindful to try everything.
And some jobs that you might go into potentially haven't even been invented yet. The world of work is changing so much. New roles are being created all the time. The whole kind of health and well-being market
certainly
was not half as prevalent as it is now, and that's due to increase from what we can see.
And it's keeping afloat of all those changes, like you said. You know, what documentation's coming out, what policies are being brought in, what careers could these be bringing towards us, we can look out for, and how can we step into those roles? So it's certainly interesting to look out for all the changes.
Yes, and the more we know the skills we have, the more we can look at a job description and think, well, it's got a job title I wouldn't take any notice of, but I know that I could do the things that it's asking for.
Or you realise that actually you've learned that in the last job that you did, and I'm going to use this to help feed into this application. I'm going to pull out what they want to hear, because actually I've got the experience, it's just not in a role that they're asking for. So it's really worth looking at obviously what the job actually entails and what experience they're looking for.
Yes, and registering those transferable skills, like you said. There's something that can help with that, which is the Career Development Award, which you did, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So one of the things that I like to think I'm quite good at is looking forward to and trying to take on all these opportunities. And this is one I kind of missed out on at the very beginning, looking into what the university offered there. And I didn't really notice towards it in the end of my second year, going into my third year. So I was kind of like, oh, quick, I need to get all this in. But yeah, I got the opportunity to go and have an insight talk with an educational psychologist, which was, for me, it's been superb because it's given me a stepping stone of what to look for and to ensure that I'm accessing the type of things that are going to be needed for my doctorate application in the future. So yeah, there was a variety of things that I've done, things that I've engaged in, learning that I've done, developing obviously a LinkedIn account, building connections. And building connections and chatting with other professionals on there, and kind of getting a bit of a platform going that I feel confident talking in. It's given me an opportunity to learn there. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing it. I know that a few people have kind of looked on my profile and said like, oh, what courses that you've done there and things like that. So it's been an opportunity to share information on LinkedIn, I found as well.
Yes, because we automatically think we're not worthy in a way, you know, but actually, we do have things to contribute very much. And all those things you just talked about didn't happen overnight. They just we just plod away doing them, don't we, in that sense? Yeah, no, it's good. There's details on the presentation about the Career Development Award. So I think the last thing we wanted to talk about really is if you were to talk to your student self, what would you say? What would your advice be from your 3 months having graduated?
Never be afraid to ask for support. I think it's going to be my biggest one. Obviously I've just finished my 3-year degree and I thought, you know what, I can do this. I can move on to my postgraduate study, and we're in second week into postgraduate study and I've already moved down to a part-time course. Now obviously this for me was a very personal choice, but I had to look at obviously what I needed as a person, what my family needed, and also I want to put the effort that I can into my studies and do as well as I can, but not put so much pressure on myself that I no longer enjoy it and it becomes to a point where I could burn out, where, you know, there's no need for that. So I think definitely remember to look after yourself and enjoy yourself, and remember to ask for help if you need it, because we don't know everything.
No, we really don't. And I think that is a good point about knowing there are options, there is support available all across the university. There's loads of support available, but particularly I suppose I know about the support that's available in the careers and employability office, and there's masses of things there: internships, work placements, jobs, the Career Development Award. We do careers guidance interviews, which you even
asking for help with how to update my CV to actually have to sell myself. They've all been really like key things that I've needed support with along the way. Even my LinkedIn profile, just checking. Do you mind checking it for me?
And we do that all the time for people. So I think anybody watching, don't be worried about just turfing up. Obviously, if it gets really busy, we might not be able to turn it around immediately. There might be a
I suppose also for students that, you know, they might be going into graduate this year, and you know, they're kind of like, oh well, I really want to apply for this job and I'm not great at selling myself. So I suppose getting support on applications and things like that you could offer as well.
Mock interviews, loads of things like that, assessment centres. But that's running ahead. I think this session is, you're right, it's good to know what's available. This session is just looking at you know, how do we figure out what we want to do, and how do we figure out what the options are? So I think essentially you talked about that there's further study, there's work there. I mean, sometimes people take a gap year, and I've seen take longer planning their gap year than they would planning their postgrad study or their work
Yeah.
options or whatever. And that's okay, but actually it's worth spending a bit of time just thinking about what we might do in the future. And I guess our message is there's lots of support available for you. So I do hope everybody who's watched this has found it useful. I mentioned that there are slides available, there'll be a link to those at the end. Do get in touch with us and sign up for the job alerts and the Career Development Award and everything else. And just really to say thank you so much, Rosie, for being very happy to be authentic and just kind of chat to us about the challenges you faced. Was there anything else you wanted to kind of get across there?
No, just enjoy your time at university and yeah, have fun.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. It was lovely chatting to you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.